Hello there! Today we are at Busch Gardens, Tampa for the Animal Care Center behind us. The Animal Care... That's Falcon's Fury, and it's always terrifying. The Animal Care Center has a show that we're going to partake in. By partake, I mean watch. So let's go in and watch the show.
I just brought out one of our animal friends. This is Rocky. He's a box turtle, an eastern box turtle. He's enjoying a little bit of apple right now. I'm just hanging on to it so it doesn't run away from him. Oh, he's going for the other one.
Like he's never had one before. So he's been with us for about 30 years. So he has had very many audiences. He is quite
great for your
people.
age.
I know, right?
I know.
Yeah.
Became part of our animal ambassadors is that he couldn't be released back out here in Florida. But he does an excellent job with us. He's been around, like I said, he's been with us for about 30 years. These guys can potentially live up to 50s, easy, 80s, probably maximum lifespan. So he still has a lot of life, but he's our little old man turtle.
Looking like, well, that's the spot. Yep, right there.
So turtles and tortoises can feel everything through their shell. It's attached to their skin. Their spine is attached to the bottom of the top of that shell there. So, and their shell is just made out of keratin. So it's the same stuff that our hair and our fingernails are made out of. So essentially, touching his shell will be the exact same thing as if you touch your fingernails. You can feel it the same way. It's how he would feel any kind of touches on his shell. Box turtles are really, really cool because they have a hinge on the bottom of their shell. So that big deep line right there, that's his hinge. So the reason why they're called a box turtle is because he can pull in his arms and legs and head just like normal turtles can. But then when he does that, he actually can move his shell with that hinge and close it. So he'd be boxed in, which is why he's called a box turtle. Cool. Which is really, really cool and awesome adaptation because predators don't want to work that hard for their food. They don't want to bite through a shell. They don't want to try to do all those things. So him boxing himself in there is a pretty good deterrent for any kind of predator that wants to try to get inside. It's just like anything, you know, it'd be like if we were to eat a hard-boiled egg with the shell on. You're going to peel that shell, eat all the stuff on the inside. Same thing as this shell. Predators want to eat all the soft, good stuff. They don't want to eat the shell. Right? I don't know. Is he taking a nap on the apple? I don't know. So these guys are herbivores, but they also eat little small insects as well. So they eat grasses and greens and different vegetables and things like that. We also give them a turtle pellet. Really cool thing about here at Busch Gardens is that animals that live here basically get 100% care. So it starts with the food that they eat, which goes back to the same things that our parents always told us. You know, if you eat well, you become healthy. You eat healthy, you live healthy. Same thing with our animals. We actually have a nutritionist here that works on property. She's one of only, I think, is it 20 or 30?
I think it's like 27.
So,
somewhere in there.
In the entire world. So it's a fairly new profession, and it kind of is a combination of, you know, just regular research for human nutrition and zoology biology. So she does all the research and looks into where animals are from and things they eat naturally in the wild, and then she applies it to here in the zoo. Now, gorillas, they eat grasses and different kinds of plant material that we don't have here in Florida. And we're not going to start transporting things from Africa just for our gorillas. But we can look into all the different vitamins and minerals and everything that are in those plants that they eat naturally and try to find something similar here that we can get. So that's what she does. She does all the research for all those things. And some of the stuff that we have in the back here is just a small example of that, of all the different kinds of foods that you can give them. And then on top of having good nutrition, right next door, we have our hospital. So all of our animals get yearly checkups, just like people do. They go and they see the vets, and then if there are any reasons, like the keepers think they're sick or injured, we can bring them over to our vets just as easy as that. We don't have to leave property. They're right here. Yep, that's a good spot. That's a good spot. That's a good spot on the shell.
Today.
Do you guys have any questions about Rocky? Or turtles? More about the building? Life in general. Alicia will answer your general life questions.
Sure. I will answer all the questions. Oh my gosh, I'm finding all the spots today, huh, Rocky?
Good one.
Where did you say they were originally from?
So eastern box turtles, they're more like northeastern United States. So I'm trying to think of where like the most southern part of their territory would be. Yeah,
Like down.
that's like the most southern part of like where they're naturally found. So if you find them in like the Carolinas or Georgia or Florida, they are popular in the pet trade because this is as big as they get. Like I said, he's 30 and this is full grown. So having him as a pet is not all that abnormal. But if someone was like, okay, I just figured out this guy is potentially going to live a lot longer than I thought he was going to, I'm going to do the right thing and I'm going to set him free. Well, it's not always the right thing, especially depending on where you live, because you're introducing a species that does not belong here, which is what we think the case is of how he got here in Florida, is that someone had him as a pet. I'm not sure if they came from the north and moved potentially, and then we're like, nope, we're done with having a turtle. But somehow he came to be on property here, and we found him. So, or someone found him. I did not find him. I did not end here for today.
You look great, Meagan.
But he was found here on property, and when we determined, yes, he is not a native Floridian, then we were like, okay, it's not the right thing to do to re-release him out to the wild because he doesn't naturally belong here. And like I said, he would breed with other turtles that are not his species, create hybrid species. And a lot of times with box turtles too, what they'll do is they will travel to get back to where their like quote unquote their home is. So there is an honest potential of turtles traveling hundreds and hundreds of miles if it's safe, that is. Now you'll see turtles and tortoises traveling all over. If they have to cross a big road, 9 times out of 10 they meet an unfortunate fate, and that is a long way to go. So they won't typically make that travel. Like if he was from Virginia, he was down here in Florida, and we were like, all right, buddy, good luck. 9 times out of 10, he's not going to make it back. That's just unfortunately a fact of life. He is little. There are a lot of things that would try to eat him. One of the biggest things that birds of prey, not that they go after turtles and tortoises very often, but if they're desperate, you know, they would snatch him up, and one of the biggest things that they do is they would drop him to try to crack that shell. So even if he didn't become food, that would be fatal for him because all of his internal organs and everything are on the inside of that shell. Like I said, he's all connected. So if he gets any kind of damage to that shell, it is very dangerous.
Is that their natural color?
For him, yes. So box turtles in general all kind of come in a wide variety. It really depends on the areas that they're found in. Typically what they do, because box turtles live low to the ground, they don't dig or burrow, but they live kind of in the bushes. So they typically mimic their environment and their shell and their color. So they can be a little bit more yellow, a little bit more orange, some more green, some dark, and a lot of that, even if that isn't typical, like if there's a lot of green in the area, and you go, well, he's a sore thumb, he's not going to blend into the green. A lot of times what the camouflage means too is they're mimicking sunlight and shadows and sun patterns and things like that. So even if he doesn't blend into a green bush, the sun that travels through that bush and the shadows and the light, that would help him camouflage a little bit more. But yeah, they're all kind of different. It's kind of like us, you know, we all have different hair color, eye color. Same with these guys.
What I found for you.
Oh,
His favorite treat.
yes. Apples, we usually have to wait him out for him to decide whether or not he wants to eat an apple, but worms, every time. He's like, yes, thank you, I will eat that.
Moving, I don't care. I just want a worm.
Yes.
How long does it take?
You didn't finish the other one yet, huh?
Not very long. Typically, within the first 5 years, 2 to 5 years, they'll hit fully grown. And when they're first hatched, they're teeny, and their shell grows with them. So they have a teeny little shell with them since it's part of their body and attached to them.
Get most of it. It's just that those little pieces on the side,
This is just
like squirts out the side. So like sometimes you have a hard time getting those squishy pieces.
okay. We have several young animals.
Did it squish out the side?
Total. I'm trying to think of what some of the
You get it?
No new baby gorillas.
nothing new. So once they hit a little bit more maturity total with our gorilla group, but only one of them is viable and interested in a female.
A little gentle turtle
Our
turns
other
into
one is just like,
Rar.
you know,
Reptar.
right? Godzilla.
yeah. It was right, exactly. Yeah. It's like, I'm alright, thank you. You know? Yes. And what I was telling you guys, I was saying, you know, we have 100% care here at Busch Gardens. It starts with our food and our nutrition. So we do shows about food and nutrition. So this is not a working kitchen. Because do you guys know how many animals we have in the park?
No, we
You haven't told them how many animals we have in the park?
I don't want to spoil the surprise, but this is a good time as any.
Yes.
I was thinking it for you.
Okay, all right, I'm glad. So, we have around 1,200 animals, or 12,000 animals, excuse me, did I say that? Okay, not a lot. 12,000 animals that are here just at Busch Gardens. Now, granted, about 10,000 of them are fish, but that's 2,000 terrestrial animals. So, reptiles, birds, mammals, things like that, we have 2,000 that we take care of. This kitchen, are we going to feed 2,000 animals in this kitchen?
Yes.
No. An elephant will eat more in one day. One elephant will eat more in one day than this fridge could contain. So there's no way. Then we have 5.
5, I think?
Yeah, we have 5 elephants.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
One elephant eats more than this entire fridge. There's no way we're making food for everybody in this kitchen. We just do a portion of the food. So we make the big Aldabra tortoise food. We do that for them. So if you guys get to meet Bubba or Jimmy at all while you're here, you will meet them. They're the giant tortoises. Bubba is around 600 pounds. He's a big guy. Guesstimate he's about 75 years old. And his, the other male that's in there, Tank, he's about 20 years old. So we know his age. But yeah, they didn't keep the best of records. We didn't have computers back then. You know, it was all paper written. And there was also, you know, kind of like when you had a goldfish and the goldfish died and then your parents replaced it with another goldfish. So some of that stuff might have happened back in the day. So we think he's about 75. That's our best guesstimate. Yeah, he loves his worms. On the islands that both the Galapagos and the Aldabra tortoises naturally live, there have been some scientists who think that there are potentially some tortoises over there that could be upwards of 200 years. Wow. But again, it's because none of us have been around for 200 years. Yeah. So right. It's not like we could go ask Bob and say, hey Bob, how old is this guy? You know? So, especially in certain areas where it's not populated, you know, the ones that are in the wild, nobody's keeping track of when they were hatched and any of that. So we help with their diet, and we also help with the hyenas. We help make hyena meatballs. So the hyenas get a specific diet that is made just for them, and the zookeepers ask for it to be rolled into meatball shapes so they can use it for training on habitat and also feeding in the house so they can feed it to them on tongs through metal mesh. So we help with that. So we only help with a small portion of the diets, but that's why this looks like a kitchen, is because we're talking about nutrition when we're doing those things. Yeah, but that's not a working show, doesn't do anything.
You don't cook the animals?
Nope, don't cook the animals.
Make a cooking show.
Make a cooking show?
Make a vegan cooking show.
I mean, well, for the herbivores, for the herbivore cooking show, we could absolutely do an herbivore cooking show.
This is how we do our cooking shells.
Rice, exactly.
We cut up fruit and vegetables. We do make a lot of enrichment for the animals, so we made some popsicles for our African crested porcupine. We're working on a giant globe that's going to be, when it's done, if you can picture it, it'll look like a giant globe, so it'll be the world, and we're going to give that to our elephants on Earth Day. So it's about 8 layers of paper mache. Do you guys know what paper mache is?
Nope. Yeah.
No?
It's blue and newspaper.
Very close. So ours, we use flour and water, but it acts like a glue, so it'll stick it together, but it's pretty natural. So if our elephants were to decide to eat some of it, it wouldn't hurt them. But pretty much we're going to take it, we're going to give it to the keepers, and the keepers will decide if they want to put something in it, maybe some hay or something like that, and then they'll put it out there with them, and then they'll probably play with it for a little while. It's probably going to take us about 2 months to make this. How long do you guys think it'll take for the elephants to do
8 years.
2 minutes.
Probably
5 minutes?
No.
Oh, probably a lot less than that.
Yeah,
10 years. 2 years.
No,
30 seconds.
30 seconds.
probably pretty close to 30 seconds.
No, 29.
Yeah, it's probably about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Just don't give it to
All our hard work will be destroyed in about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
But that's okay, as long as they have fun. That's what matters.
Yeah. And we have fun making these things too.
Yep. All right, so do you guys want to meet another animal?
Yeah.
What I ask you to do is do a silent scream. So basically, here's what it looks like. Are you ready? That is a silent scream. You're really, really excited, but no sound actually comes out of your mouth. But you're still really excited. Just silently. Okay? Now, this is Zeus. Zeus is a ball python, and she is a girl. She is fully grown. Zeus is 28 years old, I believe, and she has been here almost her entire life. So she is very used to being around people, having her picture taken. Like I said, at the end, I will give everybody the opportunity, if they want to, they can come up and touch her. I will show you how to touch her when that time comes. And then I just ask that you guys use hand sanitizer afterwards, just because it's not anything that she has, but a lot of little hands have been touching her, and I don't know what have been on the little hands today. So, some background about ball pythons. These guys are from Africa, and so they're not native here to Florida, but they are super, super popular in the pet trade. So this is pretty much one of the first typical snakes. If someone wants to have a snake as a pet, people usually get ball pythons because they do basically this. Once they're used to being handled, they're very docile snakes. They just kind of hang out and just chill on you. They're not very active. Some snakes are very, very fast and they move around a lot. Ball pythons are not. Do you have a question?
Yeah, will it bite us?
So she does have a mouth. She does have teeth. So there is a possibility with anything that does have a mouth or has teeth, of course, yes, anything could possibly bite. Now that goes into what I do for a living. My job is to be trained on how to handle all of my animals that I bring out and show everyone. So I go through a process and I learn not only about ball pythons in general, but I learn about the specific animals that I'm handling and the specific things to learn and watch about. So snakes cannot tell you, hey, that hurts, I'm scared, don't do that. So she's gonna show me in different ways of her body language. So it is part of my job and part of my training to pay attention to her. We also pay attention to when she's been eating and when she is shedding, because these are all things that have to do with her personality and will affect her personality. So if she were to bite anyone, she would bite me. And if she was to bite me, it would be 100% my fault, because I would not be doing my job. I would not be paying attention to the body language that she's showing me and the things that she's doing that tell me I'm doing something wrong. Now, I have never been bit. I've been here for 14 years, and I've never known anyone that works here, to my knowledge, that has been bit by Zeus. So, we all do our jobs well. You have a question?
Is she venomous?
She is not venomous. I would not be holding her if she was venomous. We actually have a pretty strict policy and a safety protocol with all of our venomous snakes. So there must be 3 people that are with venomous snakes at all times, especially if you're going to handle them or feed them. So 2 people are here to handle and transport a venomous snake to get them ready to be fed. And one person is literally the safety person just watching the entire time. In case, gosh forbid, anything happens, there is someone who can make a call if need be. So we have a lot of safety protocols with venomous snakes. Now that brings me up to the types of snakes there are. So there are venomous snakes, which when they bite their prey, they inject the venom into their prey, and that's how they eat. So what they do is they'll bite their prey, they inject the venom, and they let go. And they let their prey run away. Sometimes they don't run very far. Depends on the kind of venom that they have. So sometimes they have neurotoxin, which affects your nervous system. And then there's other types of toxins that affect your epidermis or your skin, things like that. So once the prey item is fully has the venom in them, then the snake will go and find them, and then they will eat them. The other type of snakes are constrictors. So that is what she is. That is what ball pythons are. They are constrictors. That means that she wraps around her prey and suffocates them to eat them. So what she'll do is she'll strike, she'll hang on to her prey, she'll wrap her body around it, and then squeeze until it suffocates and that prey item can't breathe anymore. Once that's done, that's when she'll let go and ingest her food whole. Now she can eat something about the biggest size of her body. So about where my thumb is, this is probably about the biggest, meatiest part of her body. That's about the biggest size of prey item that she can eat. So a large rat, absolutely. Now her head, as you can see, is nowhere near the same size as the biggest part of the body. She has extra muscles along her jawline that can actually help her open up her jaw incredibly wide. It is not double jointed. She can't dislocate her jaw. She just has a lot of muscles that help her do that. Now here at Busch Gardens, we give all of our snakes and reptiles, if they eat rodents, we give them frozen, already pre-dead food. So part of the reason why we do that, why we don't give them live mice or live rats or anything like that, is not only for it being humane for the rodent, it's also a safety thing for our snakes and our reptiles. So let's say Zeus here isn't hungry, which sometimes reptiles can go months without eating. They can live off of their stored fat, things like that. So let's say for months she hasn't eaten and she's just not eating. And I put a live mouse in with her or a rat, what's going to happen? That rodent, a mouse, a rat, it's going to eventually defend itself. It's going to say, I don't want to be eaten. This thing is going to eat me. I need to get out of here, and I'm going to defend myself. So there have been instances, not here, but there have been instances of rodents biting snakes' tails, their eyes, their face, because they're defending themselves because they don't want to be eaten. So there's one type of snake, and I always forget. What's the non-venomous that can eat venomous? Do you know?
I think Google Box has an answer here.
Google Box.
To the Wikipedia machine, it says that king snakes can eat.
King
snakes.
snakes, that's what it is, yes. So king snakes can eat venomous snakes.
So eventually, what will happen is when it's time for her to shed, she will first turn what's called opaque, meaning she'll turn very kind of milky white colored. And that eye will be impossible for her to see out. She'll basically be blind. So snakes are very vulnerable during this time, and it's very easy to startle them because they can't see what's happening. So whenever she's shedding, she gets sort of a mini vacation here at Busch Gardens. We'll say, all right, we're not going to use you until you're all done with your shed. You're not going to do any traveling or anything like this. Even though you're comfortable around us, we don't want to risk somebody startling you by accident.
Do you ever help her with shedding?
Sometimes we'll help her with her shedding. Since she is a little bit older, she's the equivalent of like a 300-year-old snake, basically. So again, in the wild, a ball python might live 8 to 10 years, and she's 29 years old right now. So in zoos and in managed cares, they often live triple or double, if not triple, if they live in the wild. And in these guys' case, almost up to 4 times as long. So as she gets older, if she has trouble and difficulty with shedding, we might potentially go in and help to remove some of that extra skin. We might use eye drops, for instance, to kind of loosen the skin on her eyes. Depending on where the skin is, we might be able to go in with kind of some magnifying glasses and some tweezers and gently help to tease off any remaining. But for the most part, we try to let her do it on her own, you know, not only because we don't want to hurt your pride if we have to step in and help you with that, but also because we want to make sure that she's kind of the one in control of that. But yeah, if we need to, we absolutely will. So we were just helping out a leopard gecko with shedding in our zoo hospital just a few days ago. So next door of the animal care center, that is where in the morning you'll see all the animals at Busch Gardens getting checkups, surgeries, whatever we need to do to take care of them. And we had a 26 7-year-old leopard gecko named Marla, who had some difficulty shedding some skin around her toes. And that was really fun and exciting because the oldest leopard gecko I've ever been able to find on record was 29. So she is up there. She's about to break the record, actually. So, but in her older age, she's had some difficulty shedding some of the skin right at the tips of her toes. And that was something that we were doing yesterday, helping her to get some of that off. So, yeah.
So while we were back at the Painted Camel, we stopped to ask about if there was anything past member wise for the month, because we know that each park in the area normally does like a month-to-month basis thing.
Yeah, SeaWorld had a pin, I think, for the month.
They had a pass holder 2019 pin. So when we asked, she said head back to the front to guest relations because this month you receive $10 if you were a pass holder.
Yeah, so like they call it Busch Garden bucks. So we can use it at the gift stores.
Yep.
Mine's got a lion on the front.
And mine has giraffadids in the sunset. Sunrise.
We're gonna go on a
I'm not sure.
mini shopping spree here.
Yes. Well, not for many, because that would be a different park. A tiny shopping spree. Yeah. So we took our cards and purchased some items.
Yeah.
Christina, what did you get?
I got a magnet, because I don't have a Busch Gardens magnet yet.
And it's the 60th anniversary magnet, too.
Yeah. I also got some gummies. Just so it would add up.
And then I got the 60th anniversary water cup. So it's got all these animals around it, like the cheetah and the tigre, and then an elefante, and another tigre, and a giraffe. So that's what we did with it. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
We got to meet Rocky and Zeus. Yep. And then we also learned about Bubba, who we saw a little earlier.
Yeah.
And we're going to toss that video in here so you can see him, because he is amazing.
Yeah.
How big that tortoise is.
Look how huge that is.
That is a big tortoise.
He can't even keep his head up.
That is amazing. I wanted to point out how thick his scales are. That's pretty incredible. You see that, Christina? How thick his scales are on his arm? But that is the end of our day here at Busch Gardens. So we are going to head on out and watch out for some free range grandmas. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.